3, 2, 1, 0.
It inspired people to fly and eventually took humans to the moon. It harnessed the power of the atom. It's saved millions of lives and cost millions of lives. It even killed the cat. It's curiosity. It's the reason you clicked on this video and ties into skydiving, Albert Einstein, the creation of the United States, and this mysterious billboard. But what is it? Where does it come from? What's it for? Without us consciously being aware of it, curiosity is something that governs all our lives. It's such a basic part of who we are that we barely notice it. But it affects how we learn, what we learn, and how we make decisions. It can determine our whole path through life. From our earliest days, it helps us make sense of the world, and it has helped shape and change that world for tens of thousands of years. But scientists still don't fully understand it or even know exactly how to define it. One of the first scientists to try was philosopher, historian, and psychologist William James, sometimes called the father of American psychology. In 1899, he wrote that curiosity, quote, was the impulse to better cognition. In other words, the desire to know, to find things out. Think how much of our lives we spend trying to get information, listening to the news, reading books and magazines, waiting impatiently for the next episode of a TV thriller, or desperately searching for the latest sports results. We have a seemingly endless need to know. So strong a need that not knowing can actually leave us feeling stressed and anxious. But there are other ways to be curious too. William James also observed that in children especially, curiosity was also a need for new sensations, a drive to that which is bright, vivid, and startling. New experiences, new toys, different games, exploring new environments. That search for new experiences still drives us as adults. Discovering new music or artists, trying new foods, visiting new places. Human beings are constantly looking for new and different experiences. In the 1950s, psychologist Daniel Berline defined these two types of curiosity as perceptual, the driving force to find new sensations, and epistemic, the desire to gain knowledge. Later researchers labeled them cognitive and sensory. Whatever the terminology, though, history is full of ways that these different types of curiosity have changed our world. When asked why he wanted to climb Mount Everest, pioneering British mountaineer George Mallory said simply, "Because it's there." The desire for new sensations, to do what hasn't been done before, has driven explorers from the earliest times. What's over the next hill? What's on the other side of the sea? What would it be like to fly? The Polynesian settlers who voyaged thousands of miles to Easter Island, the Vikings who made landfall in North America, through to Columbus, Magellan, Amundsen, and many more. Exploration has always been driven by curiosity. Fame and fortune may follow, but it's that basic need to push boundaries and experience new things that has fueled explorers throughout history. On the other hand, epistemic or cognitive curiosity, the need to gain knowledge, has motivated some of the greatest scientists in history. Albert Einstein didn't need to go places. His exploring happened in his head, with a unique way of approaching problems that he termed thought experiments. He'd ask himself questions. What would happen if I traveled at the speed of light? What would I see? What would other people see as I traveled past? The need to know drove him on. One of his most famous quotes says it all. "I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious." Another passionately curious scientist made perhaps the most important discovery ever. In the 1790s, a doctor who'd already made an impact in everything from surgery to zoology began to wonder why milkmaids never seemed to catch smallpox. It turned out that the milkmaids had already been exposed to cowpox, a similar but less deadly disease, and therefore had immunity to smallpox. By developing and proving the world's first vaccine, Edward Jenner's curiosity has probably saved more lives than anything else in history. Cognitive curiosity, the focused need to know something, is now recognized as a basic starting point for scientific discovery, something to be actively encouraged and developed in students. But why do we have such an inbuilt thirst for knowledge and discovery? Watch children at play, and one answer is obvious. Perceptual curiosity, being driven to find things out and experience new things, is what helps us learn. Studies have shown that children can ask up to 100 questions in a single hour, gaining information, exploring their surroundings, building up an understanding of how things work. Play is driven by curiosity. What would happen if I did this? What would it be like if I was that? All of it gaining new experiences, new knowledge, and understanding. Many studies have shown that animals possess a similar type of perceptual curiosity. During his famous experiments with dogs, Ivan Pavlov identified what he called the "what is it" response. Primates, cats, rodents, and many other creatures also show clear curiosity in their behavior patterns. So perhaps on one level, curiosity is a basic survival instinct, an inbuilt drive that humans and animals share. Hunger drives us to eat. Curiosity drives us to find that food by making us explore and understand our environment, by encouraging us to constantly be searching for better food and better ways to find it, better ways to keep warm, stay alive, and ensure the future of our species. So when a child asks you where babies come from, you could be seeing one of humanity's oldest, most basic, and most important instincts in action. Just what makes curiosity so powerful is also something scientists still puzzle over, but there are clues within our brains. In a study by psychologists at the University of California, a group of volunteers were quizzed on a series of general knowledge questions while undergoing MRI scans. They were also asked how curious they were to know the answers to those questions. The scan results were incredible. When the volunteers' curiosity was at its highest, the parts of their brains that administer gratification and rewards were triggered. There was also a surge in activity in a part of the brain called the hippocampus. As a component of the limbic system, it helps to regulate emotion. It's also the area of the brain that's thought to store new memories. At the same time, the volunteers' brains also released very significant chemicals. First, cortisol, released when we're feeling stressed. It produces adrenaline, the fight or flight reflex. Second, chemicals including dopamine, serotonin, and opioids, the brain's reward chemicals that make us feel good. All of that suggests that our brains may be hardwired to make us curious and learn, programming us to constantly push, explore, and expand our experience. If we don't know something, we feel uncertain, stressed, and anxious. When we fill that gap in our knowledge, when we've gained new information or a new experience, we feel great about it, happier, safer, and more relaxed. These chemical processes in our brain could also help explain some of the downsides of curiosity, the reason why it really can kill the cat, because it also may make us take risks and encourage extreme, thrill-seeking behavior. If we jump out of an aircraft, our brain starts screaming for information as to how we're going to land safely. Cortisol floods our system with adrenaline to cope with the situation, and assuming we don't die, our brains reward us with a huge jolt of feel-good chemicals. With the whole new experience now seared into our memories, just doing the same thing again won't give us the same buzz. Next time, we'll be driven to try something even more extreme to replicate the same buzz, and that cycle can sometimes have fatal consequences. In January 1967, Donald Campbell attempted to become the first person to reach 300 miles an hour on water. Finally, after a lifetime of breaking speed records, his curiosity to see just how fast he could go in both cars and boats caught up with him. From climbers to divers and extreme athletes of every sort, the drive to always go further can go too far. The incredible power of curiosity is being recognized in other areas too, from business and industry to advertising. In 2004, this mysterious billboard appeared in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and also close to Highway 101 in the heart of Silicon Valley. It posed a simple puzzle. The people who worked out that the correct answer was 742-746-6391.com found a website that contained yet another equation to solve. The few who solved that equation, too, were directed to another website, where they were invited to submit their resumes to Google. The company wanted to make sure that it recruited staff with a huge amount of curiosity, so it used curiosity to find them. Eric Schmidt, Google's then CEO, said simply, "We run this company on questions, not answers." Our understanding is changing and evolving all the time, but it seems curiosity is one of the most fundamental and important instincts that we possess. Perceptual curiosity, the desire for new experiences, drives both people and animals to explore, learn, and survive. And by inspiring the work of so many scientists, cognitive curiosity, the desire for knowledge, is the thing that has allowed humans to move from living in caves to living in orbit and actively working to colonize other planets. No wonder curiosity has been called a superpower we're all born with. If you enjoyed this video, let us exploit your curiosity as we ask, what happened to the Spirit rover on Mars? Click here to find out. Thanks for watching ElderFox. Remember to like and subscribe.